The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Crime News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. It is October 18th, 2023, episode number 678, BLOB of War. My name is Gonz, director of the Age of Deceit Films, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ. Live to tape from California to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events and today's emergent phenomena. Hashtag BLOB of War. You've heard of the fog of war, this concept that there is uncertainty, confusion, a lack of clarity when it comes to the operatives, usually military operatives, during times of war. And it's this whole idea of being confused about what's going on based on incomplete or inaccurate information that's changing constantly. And I feel like we are at the public level here. We are experiencing not just a fog of war because, we're in the social media era, we're in the internet age. It's more of a blob of war. It's not a fog, it's a blob because it's morphing. It's continuously morphing. And there's a biblical precedent for the enemy morphing its sort of, view on things. But in any case, elephant in the room here at the top. Basil is stuck in a foreign country. He's fine. It's not any kind of, lockdown situation or anything like that. He just was unable to get on the necessary travel vehicles to make it back on time. But he'll be back on Friday, hopefully. So there you go. That's Basil. We may hear from him. I actually prompted him to give us a little message, either audio or otherwise. So if something comes in, I will play it on air if it's audio. Hopefully it doesn't need any editing. And there you go. So that's a developing thing as we record this and go live here on Wednesday. Okay, the other thing, continued prayers for the Horn family.
Producers, assemble!
The latest, as of, again, this recording, is that he is, Tom Horn, that is, who's been struggling in the hospital after cardiac arrest last week. He's doing better. He's fighting off the pneumonia a little bit, but there seems to be different issues popping up. One thing gets better and then another thing pops up as a potential threat. So just continue prayers for the Horn family. Joe has been really good at letting us know the specific targets of prayer. And it's not sort of like this generalized prayer thing. It's like these specific things. So if you go look for Joe Horn on Facebook or something, you can keep up to date on how that's going. So there you go. There's that. And let me, before I move on any further, let me give you a disclaimer.
It's time for a disclaimer.
Now listen up, YouTube.
That's right. And just for all the content moderators and censorship managers out there, be they robots or humans, everything you hear on this show comes directly from the mainstream corporate news media. We do not claim to be experts on healthcare, geopolitics, military strategy, corporate law, or the moral and ethical implications of any of these topics, nor do we implicitly or explicitly support or subscribe to any sources or narratives containing misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation, as defined by the Department of Homeland Security. We're good boys. All right, YouTube, we're good boys.
And I will attempt a rundown.
Oh, look, here's Basil.
Let me bring you up to speed.
Well, sorry, it's not Basil, it's Gonz, but I'll try the rundown here. We're going to start off with the whole situation in Gaza, the hospital that was exploded, allegedly. We'll kind of walk through the timeline of developing events and narratives that has shifted over time. And as of preparing this episode, it shifted again. So we'll keep you up to date on all of that. A little bit of laser talk in terms of the Iron Dome. We'll touch on that. And then Joe Biden. Oh, yeah. See, the dogs get really riled up when we bring up Joe Biden. Is in Israel, and he made some statements there with Netanyahu, so we'll cover that as well. And then we'll do a flippy update. I anticipated Basil to be here. Oh, boy, the dog really loves Joe Biden. And the robot arm that is on display. The Serpenty Jewelry live robot arm. Oh, we got kids screaming too now. This is a family show. Yeah, buddy. Cody's barking. I know. And then CERN bringing quantum computing to society, and also a familiar organization and their goals. We'll touch on that. And then just a quick update on some vaccine news. Longer needles. Longer needles are good. And then a little bit of Trump/biblical. There's a Newsweek article highlighting Greg Locke. And then also just to touch on witchcraft, because we're in the month of witchcraft now. So there you go. That's all the stuff we're going to try to hit today if my dogs don't lose their absolute minds. Cody, calm down, buddy. It's going to be okay. I promise. Hey, you want to say hi to the people? No, okay. All right. Grumpy dog. Okay, here we go. Our lead story.
ZIONIST! Fifth-gen warfare!
They're targeting you.
Fifth-gen warfare.
Okay, so, of course, the topic on everyone's minds and attention is the situation in Gaza and Israel continuing to unfold here. So today is Wednesday, and according to Breaking 9/11 and a few other outlets, Hezbollah declared Wednesday the day of unprecedented anger against Israel, same day as Biden's visit, according to Reuters. So, yeah, the whole Arab world declared, sort of a day of anger, or, just a few days of anger, and all the stuff against Israel, which is no surprise. This has been ongoing for, centuries. But of course, in the moment, the emotions are high and the tensions are high, and it's revisiting some old things that have been around for a long time. But of course, we've always looked at it from the perspective on this show, at least, as to the bigger picture going on, not just the spiritual warfare, but what is the controlling mechanism? What is the currency that is being used here? The narrative as a currency type of idea, where there are battling narratives, and apparently you have to take a side or you're a coward. But I can understand, when babies are killed, people get mad, and that's just a natural human reaction, and it makes sense. But, when it's exploited, I think that's what is upsetting to people. Like, at least for me, I look at it and I go, man, you can't, the death of people, exploiting the idea, whether the deaths are true or not, that's really kind of the manipulative part about this. But Reuters, October 17th, headline here: hundreds dead in Gaza hospital bombing, local authorities say. Now, I have the web archive version here, that published on the 17th. The headline has been changed multiple times here on Reuters, and I'll touch on that in a second. But the original article here, this is what the first couple paragraphs or sentences read. An Israeli airstrike killed hundreds of people at a Gaza City hospital on Tuesday, health authorities in the Hamas-run enclave said, and the United Nations said an Israeli strike also hit one of its schools being used as a shelter. Okay, so Reuters, pretty straightforward, says, hey, the UN said that Israel struck a school and a shelter, and also struck a Gaza City hospital. All right. A Gaza civil defense chief said on Al Jazeera television, so this is, again, a Gaza civil defense chief, that more than 300 people were killed at Al-Ali al-Arabi Hospital. A Gaza health ministry official said at least 500 people were killed and injured. No, the numbers changed. Both departments are under the Hamas-run government. Okay, so the Hamas people are using their channels to get the message out. They can't even get on the civil defense chief and the health ministry official can't get on the same page apparently, or is this the same guy saying that there's more deaths? I don't know. Either way, 300 deaths, 500 deaths, a lot of deaths apparently. And so this is all to blame Israel. Of course, it says here, Israel's military said it did not have any details on the reported bombing. And it goes on to give some more information at the time. Now, again, this article has changed. The headline changed to, within 6 hours, changed to, in deadly day of Gaza, hospital strike kills hundreds. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Reuters is reporting that hundreds of people died. Okay, I want everyone to absorb that regardless of who is responsible, Reuters is straight up saying people died here. Okay. Now this article, again, this is the same link. They changed some of the verbiage and the headline and all this kind of stuff. But now the article reads, Gaza's health ministry spokesman said an Israeli airstrike on Tuesday killed hundreds of people at a hospital in the Palestinian enclave. But Israel said a Palestinian barrage had caused the blast. So the narrative started to shift. So it went from, Israeli guys, it makes sense. They were warning hospitals to evacuate and all this stuff. Now, all of a sudden, there's a big boom and hundreds of people allegedly dead. And according to Hamas, who, the thought that's weird is Reuters went with the Hamas people as sort of the first part of the story. So that's kind of interesting in itself. But so the initial report was that hundreds dead, Israeli airstrike, in Gaza. And then it changed to, no. First, Israel said, we don't know anything yet. And then they said, oh, no. This wasn't us. This was their own, or at least another militant group that was doing it. So, there were references barbaric terrorists. And I think the word specific was Palestinian Islamic jihad militant group. So it went from Israeli, the IDF doing it to, it's the Palestinian Islamic jihad militant group who are trying to fire rockets into Israel some more. But one of them just malfunctioned and fell on a hospital and went kaboom and hundreds of people dead. So the blame game begins, right? So this is where social media is it's a battlefield. Again, I've mentioned it before, but the whole ADL, the Anti-Defamation League run-in with Elon a few weeks ago just makes all the sense in the world. They were preparing for this. They were trying to get the algos all ready to go and in place. So when this erupted, you got clearly defined categories of people that you can put into buckets. Like, these are pro-Palestinian people. These are pro-Israel people. And the problem is not everybody is distinctly clear on those lines. And we've tried to sort of represent that narrow path where it's like, okay, no, we're not necessarily agreeing with sort of the aggressive defensive mechanisms of the IDF, and Israel, although we understand that, when there is death either direction, then you get the whole thing. We get it. But also, that doesn't mean that we're in support of the terrorist organizations that are shooting rockets everywhere. So it's this false dichotomy that's been presented. We talked about that in the last episode. But in any case, man, it has been wild to watch unfold. And so the thing that I've noticed though is, and this is just an uncomfortable truth. And so if this bothers you, I mean, I don't know. It's sort of it is an observation. So just keep that in mind. The whole narrative about fake news and, the establishment media peddling fake news and who the accusers are. So the accusers of the mainstream media being, wrong or propaganda or all this stuff. It started as sort of a grassroots thing. There's always been a contingent of people who have questioned institutional reporting on anything. So there's a baseline there, throughout history, I would say even. But then you have sort of your controlled oppositions or your cult-like personalities that rise to represent that sentiment. And of course, there had been a few over the years, but 2016, Donald Trump became the poster child for the truth movement, if I can sort of loosely use that term, or more of a libertarian movement. You okay, bud? You all right? Okay, you can slow down. Yeah, just watching some fire truck shows. What's up? All right, I might have to bust out some of the treats. Yeah, I don't know. This makes me a bad dad, I think. But anyway, okay. What was I saying? All right, so let me get back to some of the stuff that's breaking here. So yeah, keep in mind the observation. Okay, the observation is that that the Trump personality that sort of cultivated the anti-fake news, anti-propaganda movement against the establishment media, that identity is sort of now being replaced with Israel. Israel is becoming the accuser of institutional legacy media of peddling fake news. And it seems all too obvious. It's like, okay, Reuters, go ahead, report that Hamas stuff first. It's just, to me, I'm going, wait a minute. That's a little suspicious. Just to kind of, it's sus. So the Israeli Defense Forces at IDF on X, Twitter, said this: the BBC, that's the UK broadcast system there, claims to be impartial and independent. Do they? I don't know. I don't know that the BBC does, but okay. But we are unable to verify those claims. And there's a screenshot here from the BBC that published Daniel Hagari, a spokesman for the Israel Defense Force, says communication from Gaza discussed misfired rocket. The BBC has not been able to verify Hagari's claims. And that was in addition to hundreds of people have been killed in an Israeli strike on a hospital in Gaza, according to Palestinian officials. So, the idea being that BBC was taking on the word of the Palestinian officials / Hamas and sort of, reporting that, and then taking the IDF's communication about it and saying it's not verified. And so, bad BBC, they're evil, fake news. Instead, and this is back to the IDF, so they were unable to verify the claims of the IDF, but instead they chose to believe a genocidal terrorist organization, Hamas. Again, too easy. It's too easy to be like, okay, let the mainstream report Hamas stuff, and then backtrack on that, make them backtrack, and then make us look like we are the sort of the knight in shining armor coming in to clarify things. I have a nice mute button now. It's great. I can just yell at the dog and you'll never hear it. Okay. All right. So I continue on here. Now, there's an individual named Hananya Naftali. Hananya Naftali on X Twitter. He's got about 362,000 followers. In his bio, it says, "I'm that Israeli who talks to the camera about peace in the Middle East." Okay, so I've never seen this guy before until maybe 2 weeks ago. I did notice this guy pop up as sort of just on my timeline, discussing the Middle East issues and the Israeli situation in Gaza and everything else. And I think it was the same thing for a lot of people's timelines. He just popped up because there's a lot of sort of truth seeker type of accounts that caught on to something real quick here. But he messaged or tweeted this out: the mysterious explosion in Gaza. Hamas blames Israel for this. I believe it is either a failed rocket that hit the hospital or something that was done on purpose in order to get international support. So, okay, he is Naftali here is saying that either it was a failed rocket, like the narrative shifted towards, or, even more provocative, Hamas did it to themselves to gain international support. Now, see, this is what they do. They slaughter their own. So that is a false flag accusation. Okay, so at this point in the game, is there a geopolitical group that doesn't use false flags? One can argue that almost everything that happens geopolitically is by definition a false flag. At least the way it is used to, number one, report things, back home or in the West, and how that in turn becomes something that is funded by our tax dollars. So in that sense, everything seems like a false flag if you want to, widen the definition a little bit. But anyway, back to this Naftali guy. So right, he says this. He's got a video of things blowing up. Who knows about these videos that people are publishing and saying, "Oh, this is it. This is the rocket. There it is. There it is. There's a hospital exploding." I don't know. Who knows? How are we supposed to verify any of this? Okay, so that's what he says. Now, he did get community noted. Now, that's one feature on X Twitter, is this community notes feature. Now, this guy deleted a post that he previously sent out, which was, and a bunch of people took screenshots of it, and they have it here. Breaking: Israeli Air Force struck a Hamas terrorist base inside a hospital in Gaza. Oh, okay. See, the details are a little bit more precise. That's what makes it interesting. It's not so much, hey, the IDF or the Israeli Air Force struck a hospital in Gaza. No. It was they hit a terrorist base inside a hospital in Gaza. A multiple number of terrorists are dead. Oh, okay. It's heartbreaking that Hamas is launching rockets from hospitals, mosques, schools, and using civilians as human shields. So he is implying here that Hamas not only, or the Israeli Air Force struck a hospital that is not only where, perhaps civilians are, but more importantly, the terrorists are using as, number one, the people there as human shields, but number two, they're launching rockets. Maybe they should just combine those two. They're launching over there. Launching rockets, towards Israel. Pretty bold claims. Now, this tweet was, or X or post or whatever, it was immediately deleted. But of course, again, this is part of the battlefield I was talking about. Screenshots were had. You can't publish something like that and not and claim to be sort of the spokesperson for Israel. Now, there's something very specific about that as well. So I'm just going to let him tell you what he's doing. Now, again, I saw this a couple weeks ago and it was like, okay, he's like a new guy talking about issues in the Middle East or something like that. Again, this was from a couple weeks ago. He posted this video.
Shalom, everybody. I've been called up from the front line to a different front, the digital warfare.
The digital warfare.
The Minister has called me to join this task force here behind me that is fighting around the clock to fight and defend Israel. In the media, there is a war between good and evil. And Israel's battle is your battle as well, because there is a lot of misinformation, a lot of hate, blind hate, anti-Semitism, and lies. We all have to fight it together. So I call you to stand on the right side of history. Take a stand, a bold stand for Israel, and together we are going to win this war. There is no other option.
No other option. I mean, okay. All right. So again, pretty strong words, very wartime type of language. It's a moral issue. They make it a good versus evil thing, and our side is good, the other side is evil. And, again, this is, it's, again, I said it last episode, but it's not that there aren't truths to these things. The issue that I have is sort of the weaponization of morality to get people to side with, geopolitical things, especially when it comes to probably violent confrontations. That's the part that really just bothers me. It doesn't matter who's doing the violent thing. It's as soon as both sides get into a conflict, that's why it's sort of the anti-war stance, But specifically, he's talking about digital warfare. So that makes this entire again, this video of Naftali here a couple weeks ago, it makes this whole thing very interesting. And this whole tweet, X post about a specific Air Force or Israeli Air Force strike of a Hamas terrorist based in a hospital. So, all right. Okay. Just add a few wrinkles to this. Now, back at home here, we had Ben Shapiro sort of bolster the narrative for the pro-Israel reaction to this. Ben Shapiro posted, "So, just to be clear about this, Palestinian terrorists tried to fire a rocket at Israel. It fell short and hit a hospital. killing hundreds of Palestinian Arabs. Hamas claimed that it was Israel, and the media immediately ran with Hamas's story. Sounds about right. Okay, so again, mainstream media is bad because they peddle terrorist news. And Ben Shapiro is there to fight against this terrorist news. Very interesting. But this was all yesterday, October 17th. Things changed a little bit within the last 24 hours. It appears the hospital was never hit. This is Naftali Bennett. He represents himself as the Prime Minister of Israel, the 13th Prime Minister of Israel. And he said, New York Times. Again, look at this. They're just attacking mainstream media. It's very interesting. New York Times, shame on you, all caps. Yesterday at 6:59 p.m., Islamic Jihad fired a barrage of around 10 rockets towards Israel. One of the rockets misfired, fairly common event, and hit the parking lot of a hospital, killing many innocent people. Hamas immediately understood that this was the Islamic Jihad's rocket and launched a massive lie campaign blaming Israel. The New York Times immediately adopted Hamas's version, peddling this lie for hours. We now know the facts, cross-checking from 4 different sources. Yes, it took time because serious investigations take time. New York Times, shame on you. Apologize for this slander. Aren't you supposed to check facts? Isn't that your claim to fame? Is there a special exemption from fact-checking when it's the Jewish state involved? Again. It is this hijacking of the truth movement into just all Israel. And once again, I'm not saying that there aren't truths in here about Israel being misrepresented by the mainstream media because the mainstream media decided to take terrorist news sources before their news sources. But the whole thing just seems suspicious, does it not? I mean, I'm sorry. Maybe I'm jaded. But at this point, it's kind of like, all right, it's pretty easy to tear down a straw man. Just make sure the straw man is, the mainstream media picking up on terrorist sources. That way it's so easy to tear down. It's like, well, look, terrorist information. Man. So what's interesting also, the Times of Israel had this article here. Surveillance video appears to show failed rocket launch causing Gaza hospital blast. And yeah, the problem with that, and I don't want to show some of this stuff because the timelines are horrific, stuff blowing up, rockets going off, but then just a bunch of horrific images of young babies, in horrible situations. I don't need that, number one. Number two, I think it's meant to show up on people's timeline. And this is what I'm talking about with the ADL and Elon and all this kind of stuff. I think this is part of the experiment and part of the phase of the operation is to start showing those grotesque images because they incite emotion and they incite certain responses from a particular set of people in the populace, and they'll go with it, And so I don't want to participate in that. So it's not just for, my protection in terms of what I'm seeing and what I'm looking at, but in terms of just the whole game here, we're going to stay away from that. So I recommend many of you to do the same, but that's just a recommendation. Now, the interesting part about this Times of Israel article is that, they talk about how all these videos were published by all these accounts and how they're not sure if they're real. But there is this one thing. What's up, bud? What's that? Oh, did you drop one in there? Oh, no. Something's going on. Yeah. What's going on, bud? Okay, sorry. All right. So yes. So this is what it says in the article here. Earlier, the foreign ministry disseminated video, including on the official Israel X account. Oh boy. Oh boy. There you go. Okay, sorry about that. All right, yes. So on X, Twitter, the @Israel account, so this is like the official Israel account, claimed to show an Islamic Jihad rocket falling on the hospital. It then edited the tweet to remove the video after some people pointed out that it had appeared to date 40 minutes following the blast and also showed one video with a date in the future. Sloppiness? it's kind of like, at this point, I'm starting to think, maybe the whole narrative about the Iron Dome going down because of, ignorance and all this kind of stuff, maybe it's true because, you can't even do your social media right. Like you're posting stuff that's all off on timing and all this kind of stuff, and people are going to call you out, and then you edit it. But also at the same time, I'm thinking, just to take that secondary layer of the conspiracy-minded, thought process, is that, okay, this is too obvious. It's too obvious to publish something and, create this sort of discrepancy so that the public has the opportunity to call it out. And then, if they edit, then it feeds the narrative to people like us that we can say, oh, see, they edited their stuff. Aha, see, they were lying before. But it could be on purpose to create the illusion or create people like us to call them liars. And then, boom, we take the bait. And now we are, anti-Semitic Jew haters. That's sort of the psyop in a nutshell. So again, man, it's getting pretty hairy out there. But I want to talk about just real quick, because this whole thing is predicated on the idea that the Iron Dome was penetrated in some, maybe it was Klaus, Has anyone considered the fact that Klaus is behind this whole thing? But one thing before we go into the lasers and light blades and all that kind of stuff, I forgot the big thing, the big story.
Got hairy legs, got hairy legs, hairy COVID.
Joe Biden.
This is the United States of America, for God's sake.
Got hairy legs, got hairy legs.
It's talking about the situation by visiting Israel. The Israelites were very happy. The Israelis were very happy that Joe called them a minority group that needs help.
Stink minority.
All right, enough of that. All right, so here's Joe talking to Benjamin Netanyahu, Bibi, about the situation. Oh, by the way, this is from AP News, and the headline, Biden says Israel has agreed to allow humanitarian assistance to move into Gaza from Egypt. It's interesting how throughout all of this, they're making Joe out to look like kind of a geopolitical hero, bartering peace in the Middle East. And but Joe looks like he can barely stay awake. But also, I want to just note that this video that AP has at the top here, I don't know what happened at the beginning here, but while Bibi is talking, they could not get audio. Like they couldn't hear what he was saying. So they just kind of edited to the next part where Joe's talking. But it's just weird little stuff like that where I'm going, I guess people are scrambling because it's all breaking fast and all this stuff, but we can't get a mic on the guy. Can we get a mic on the prime minister or the head or president of Israel over there? I don't know. Anyway, here we go.
But above all, Mr. President, the world sees that.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
I was deeply saddened and outraged by the explosion at the hospital in Gaza yesterday. And based on what I've seen, it appears as though it was done by the other team, not you.
The other team. I mean, talk about the sort of right-left paradigm and the divide and conquer and how the world's a stage. All those thoughts about, hey, they're trying to divide us into teams. It's like us versus them. That's the whole idea of sports, everything. And Joe just uses that phrase so elegantly.
Terrorist group Hamas has slaughtered, as has been pointed out, over 1,300 people. And it's not hyperbole, it suggests slaughtered.
Mm-hmm. Slaughtered.
And including 31 Americans as part of that. And they've taken scores of people hostage, including children. You said, imagine what those children hiding from Hamas were thinking. It's beyond my comprehension to be able to imagine what they're thinking.
Mr. President, for the people of Israel, there's only one thing better than having a true friend like you standing with Israel, and that is having you standing in Israel. Your visit here is the first visit of an American president in Israel at a time of war. It is deeply, deeply moving.
All right. So well done, Joe. Really pulling at the heartstrings of Bibi. They're very grateful that you are the first U.S. president to step on Israel land during wartime. I'm looking at CNN right now. I'm just trying to report on some of the latest things that are happening in terms of this hospital situation. And now they're saying, this is verbatim here from CNN, the headline, anger erupts across Middle East over Gaza hospital blast as Biden arrives in Israel. And it says here that hundreds of people were likely killed in the blast on Tuesday at the Al-Ali Baptist Hospital in the center of Gaza City, where thousands were sheltering from Israeli strikes, the Palestinian Health Ministry said in a statement. Thousands were likely killed in the blast. This is interesting. Again, sort of a back and forth. So the article sort of tries to lay out a similar timeline as to what I did for you here. But yeah, at this point, again, this is CNN. It puts everybody into a very precarious position where, you have to sort of agree with mainstream reporting all of a sudden. And that's another thing I noticed, and people have pointed it out all over social media too, where it's like all of a sudden, and again, this has been a thing for a while, but narratives that agree with your version of what's going on, if it's coming from the mainstream media, then, see, it's true. But if it's not, then, fake news. And that seems to be happening a lot now, especially in the greater social aspect of this, where in the last few years, the sentiment against mainstream media reporting on the pandemic when it came to the vaccines or the virus itself became very tenuous. And I would say the popular view became, hey, we don't trust any of these news organizations that are pushing this stuff anymore. But then a new issue comes around and all of a sudden everyone's doing musical chairs again. Everyone's walking around, seeing where everyone fits. And it's a whole different thing now. All of a sudden, if you don't peddle this particular narrative regarding this particular geopolitical situation, then you are terrorists. So fun times, good times. Okay. On the lasers here, because this is something that I've been interested in terms of the breaching of the Iron Dome. This is jns.org, and this was published back in 2020. Yes, August 2020, and the headline is Israel deploys light blade. Oh, here, I can do the Israel deploys light blade system to Gaza border following wave of arson attacks. The laser defense system designed to intercept airborne threats such as drones and kites reportedly has an effective range of 1.2 miles. So, okay, a little bit of a new technology here, lasers to take out stuff in the air. And so, yeah, light blade. Awesome. 2020, Israel, got it. But there's another thing called the Iron Beam. Not just the Iron Dome, but the Iron Beam. And this is Wall Street Journal, July of 2022. Iron Beam, how Israel's new laser weapon works. And it says here, companies in the U.S. are also developing laser weapons based on similar technology. Of course, we've known about this for decades, actually, folks. But yes, so here we go. Yeah. What's up, bud? Yeah. Okay, so it went from the light blade to the Iron Beam. Seem to be making progress, but all this talk, we need some authoritative figure to come in and sort of put an end to this laser beam talk, because in terms of the Iron Dome, because fake news. So this is Voice of America, VOA, which is the tip of the spear when it comes to the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act, legalized propaganda, or legalized national propaganda. And their headline here, viral footage does not show Israel's Iron Beam air defense laser in action. And it shows a picture of rockets firing. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of photos like this from Israel. But apparently this is not pictures of the laser. And, they go on, they do the typical thing where they debunk a social media post claiming that it's the Iron Beam. It was actually from a video game or something. So, we've talked about this loosely or a little bit in the last episode and maybe the last couple episodes. But what's interesting about this, at the very end of the article, it says, after the Israel-Hamas war erupted on October 7th, Israel announced it could deploy Iron Beam years ahead of schedule. However, there has been no evidence thus far that Israel has used Iron Beam in the conflict. So, okay, I thought they were already operating, but apparently they're not. And apparently this conflict is what is prompting them to maybe move forward with, an activation of the Iron Beam. And so, kind of interesting. I went on the big rant last episode, but, when you have the supply and demand, you have more supply than demand when it comes to weaponry, and then the technology is changing and upgrading so fast, and now you have this antiquated technology in weapons, and it's losing geopolitical currency around the world. We need to use them. We got to use them, got to get rid of them, and if we're going to use them, might as well use it for more justification for technocratic, takeover of society through all the measures and safety rails that we will present to the public. And so that's why I think this whole situation is not just about Israel or Gaza. This is about all of us in the digital space operating on the internet and elsewhere, being able to freely express ourselves, and how in the end, some groups, and mostly coming from these spiritual entities that are against the truth, they would like us to not have that capability. And in fact, they would like to label us as things that we are not. Like words that start with T and end in ist. I mean, I'm talking about transhumanist. I don't know what you're thinking, but okay. There you go. So that's the whole situation there in Gaza, and the media warfare, the fifth generation warfare taking place as we navigate through here. And I was actually pretty glad that, no, not glad. That's not the right word. I was, I don't know. There was a moment of vindication this morning when I started seeing that, the reports from, the whole thing about the death of the hospital. So now that's being reported, the hospital itself didn't even blow up. It was just a big explosion in the parking lot. And there's footage coming out of the parking lot and some cars that are, burnt and stuff. And again, and I'm going, and all these people are going, see, it wasn't nothing. None of this even happened. And da. And I'm going, why is everybody believing the video about the parking lot? Have we not learned our lesson? Why do we keep repeating the same mistakes? But that's just the name of the game, isn't it? They just keep rolling out the same tactics, and we just keep falling for it. So that's where the game is at now. Is, hey, the hospital didn't even go down. It was just something that blew up in the parking lot, and maybe it killed some people. It looked like a pretty strong blast. It probably did take some people out if they were close, but there you go. And the narrative shifts once again. All right, let's continue on here on this very interesting day of unprecedented anger, otherwise known as Wednesday.
It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday.
Hey guys, know what day it is? It's Wednesday. It's time for the Canary Cry News Talk.
Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Yeah, it's Wednesday. And before we get into anything here, I am going to play. Oh, here we go. Tom Horn slowly waking up, singing worship songs over him as he slowly wakes up. That's a great message. That's good to hear. But also, I got something here from Basil. It's 5 minutes. Man, do I want to play a 5-minute clip uncensored, unreviewed from Basil, from this nation that he's in? Tell me if you can hear this. Let me just double check to make sure, and let me look at some signals here. I'm going to try to play this straight from the computer.
Hey everybody, your best buddy Basil here, and here I am. I am here, but I am also not here. I'm tuning in to the show from a multiverse next door. That's right, I'm out and about and had every intention of making it to the live show this week. But in my old age, I'm finding it more difficult to accurately predict my ability to sync up with the live shows. It's hard to do. My optimism might not be as helpful as I think it is in these cases, but I'm sending you this recording for a few reasons. A, to let everybody know that I am alive. Thank you for your concern. And hopefully, if everything goes well, I will have some very cool boots on the ground reporting. Oh, maybe by Friday. But if not Friday, we'll do something with it next week. So that's where I am. Also, for you Basil heads out there, some of you are messaging me. And you already know this, but for those who don't know, October 21st is the Basil birthday extravaganza. Yes, the one we forget about every single year. So thank you, everybody, for reminding me about my own birthday. Now, there is something that I wanted to request. Some wonderful producers, they like to send special Basil's birthday producerships, and that's very sweet. It means a whole lot, and helps out a ton. Just making life possible. But this year, we have an alternative. Many of you caught the Burning Man episode this year, which we're very proud of. Gons did a great job with. And we've gotten so much feedback on. And I want to spread the word about the Burning Man episode. Of course, every podcast on Earth went ahead and talked about what they thought about Burning Man, but nobody really has the experience and the assets and the know-how and the Gons sauce, as I call it, to present, I think, what we presented. So what I'd like to do is spread the word, and the way that I would like to do this is through the value for value model. And that means I would love for my birthday to support a show, No Agenda, as an executive producer, and take the opportunity to tell the whole No Agenda Nation about our Burning Man episode. We think that it could do a lot of good with that audience, and they're just the kinds of people who should be listening to Canary cry. So if you'd like to help me out, here's the thing: No Agenda executive producerships are they are at the $333 level. So I am looking for a few brave producers to help me raise $333. And we will executive produce the No Agenda show as soon as possible for my birthday, and take the opportunity to share the Burning Man episode. So if anybody out there wants to help pitch in, you can produce this show and send us a note, either with your producership or with an email, and just say, hey, this is for the Basil's No Agenda executive producership. And when I get to it, I may go ahead and create a very special button that I'll probably send out with the email and or the social posts and or any other way that I can possibly make that available. But do not wait for that button, because I'm not exactly sure how that's going to go in the next couple of days. So there you go, everybody. There will be much more to hear from me when I'm back to the show. And thank you very much. Okay, your best buddy Basil. Over and out.
All right. There you go. Thanks for that note there, Basil. Appreciate it. It was interesting to hear him time travel or teleport or something in the middle of that. Did you notice that, everybody? He went from like toilet to in the car or something. It was a very fast transition. You got to pay attention to stuff like that. All of a sudden he'll be in one place and then boom, he's in another place. And I've had to deal with that for years, folks. A whole decade had to deal with his ability to do that. So anyway, just also real quick, I know there's a lot of birthday talk with Basil's birthday coming up, but today is actually my late father-in-law's birthday. He would have been 91, I believe. And, it's really interesting because he passed away a couple of years ago. And when he passed away, in our neighborhood, there was, all of a sudden there was, a couple owls that showed up, and I get the occult significance of owls, but I'm not talking about that specifically. It was just interesting that some owls showed up, and there's some significance with owls and my wife and, her experience with her father. And we moved to this new location here a little further south. And last night, for the first time, we've been here for 3.5 months or something maybe. And last night, on the eve of my father-in-law's birthday, owls outside. So I don't know, maybe birds aren't real, maybe it's something else, but it's just one of those things. I've heard people talk about stories like this with loved ones that have passed and certain animals that sort of, I don't know, come around and hang out. Not saying that is them, in the owl, or this is my father-in-law that's in the owl or something like that, but more so sort of the mysterious ways in which the Lord has made creation and how communication between all creatures happens at a sort of a spiritual level, especially with animals. I think animals have a lot more going on than we think, especially from like the secular world, But anyway, that's a little personal thing there. And without further ado, I'm going to do my best to thank some producers today. I don't have the entire list because, again, I can't get into part of the dashboard here. It's a dual operation when it comes to some of the stuff, and I don't have some of the access to some of the stuff here readily available. But there is an executive producer to thank.
Executive producers.
Yeah, executive producers are producers who come in with their faithful generosity of $100 or more. And we like to thank them at the beginning of the show here because they really help us, keep the lights on, keep things rolling. And there's only one executive producer today, I believe. And you probably know who he is. It is the one, the only, LX Protocol. Oh, I'm sorry. Sir LX Protocol V2, Knight of the Berean Protocol. Thank you very much. And I believe this makes it... Oh, boy. I had it all ready to go here and lost some of it. It makes it his 223rd streak, which, it's the 322 backwards. 223. And it is also the 19th executive streak. So, yeah, wow. 223, big milestone in terms of a streak in general. That's 223 episodes in a row that Sir LX Protocol V2, Knight of the Berean Protocol, has been supporting the show, but also 19 in a row at executive producership level. So thank you very much. I didn't see a note from you, Sir LX Protocol V2, but appreciate it as always. Wrong button, as always.
Where'd you find this?
All right, and so, we operate on value for value, as you heard Basil talk about a little bit there, which means, I'll just play the jingle.
Value for value. We take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.
No advertising, no affiliate codes, anything like that. We just get support from you guys. That's it. You can go to canarycry.support to learn more.
Canarycry.support.
And you know what? I'm going to just fly through the producer list that I have because, again, I can only look at the PayPal side of things. So if you came in on Stripe, we'll catch up with everybody on Friday. But I have a quick list here. First up, we have Corbin B. Thank you, Corbin B. Comes in at $33.33. Says, love your show, Corbin B. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. We also have Kelly S. Thank you, Kelly S. coming in, 1111. And she has a note. Thanks, guys, for all the hard work. Well, thank you for your producership. Appreciate it. Next up, we have Caleb coming in. Some of this is a catch up as well. Caleb came in with $9.11. I think he came in on 9/11 here, actually. Or not 9/11, maybe 10/13. Oh, anyway. I'm not sure now. I'm confused. 9/11 has a note. Thank you for support CCNT. Please give Ahmed, Abdullah, and Arachnid my best regards. There you go, Caleb. Appreciate you. Next up, we have Fearless Tishbite Faith. Coming in, a pocket full of sevens. As a note, hey guys, I'm finally demooched. Praise Yeshua, the Most High. I'm so grateful for you two witnesses. Our shining knight of the fearless, hold on. Our shining knights of the fearless fact casters faith table. Oh boy, that's a tough alliteration. The triple F there. Blessings and prayers to all Canarians. Love, Fearless Tishbite Faith. Jonathan T. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And I think, did we demooch you last time? Is that why he's demooched? I'm just in case, I'm going to go ahead and demooch you one more time, just for the sake. I think we did it last time, but here it is. Fearless Tishbite Faith, if that's double dipping on demooching, it's all good. It's all good. It's just another layer. Just don't do it, 3 or 4 times, then it might start to burn. All right, that's the list I have for people over $7.77 that entitles you to have a note read. People that came in under, we're going to catch up on some folks here. We got Doctor Who Done That. Thank you very much, Doctor Who Done That. Comes in 18 episodes in a row. Normally don't play these for the people under 777, but might as well here. He's at Supernova.
This is Charlie November Tango. You are approaching Supernova. Repeat, you are approaching Supernova.
Thank you very much, Doctor Who Done That. Next up, we have Malik W. coming in 28 episodes in a row. We're catching up on 27, where he busted through the firmament.
I know we have still not shattered that highest and hardest glass ceiling, but someday someone will.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Dane Gale, Canary Whisper, and a Lady of X's and O's, 314 episodes in a row. Thank you very much. We have Sir Moore of Night of the Burning Chariots, 230 episodes in a row. Yeah, there you go. Also, Veronica D, 318 episodes in a row. And actually, I believe Veronica D hit 316 a couple episodes ago, and we did not properly give her the 316 jingle.
Mission 316.
Thank you very much for that, Veronica D. We also have Sir Sir Scott, Knight of Truth, 343 episodes in a row. And of course, Sir Casey, the Shield Knight.
Sir Casey, the Shield Knight.
357 episodes in a row, I believe. If these numbers are wrong, we'll fix it later. But there you go. That's the producers. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. We also have a ton of producers who support us through the supply drop, through the T-shirt council. There's various ways you can help us out, and especially if you're on a subscription, we really appreciate it. That really helps us sustain when things go up and down based on the economic well-being of all y'all out there. Go to canarycry.support to learn more.
Canarycry.support.
All right, we're going to move on here and go into a flippy update.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
It is time for a flippy update. I didn't do one last episode because I was going to wait for Basil. But, if I had to choose between Basil and a flippy update, and I get it. The Flippy update is Basil's thing, but I think I might choose Flippy. Maybe it's the same thing. Maybe Flippy and Basil is just one entity. All right, we have a story here from, I got to do the whole tag. What's the tag? I thought I had it written down and I don't. Oh no. People in the chat, you guys got to give me the jingle blurb for the Flippy update. Otherwise I would be doing everybody a disservice. Flippy is the robot arm that flips burgers. We use talking about Flippy to discuss how they're taking over the world, and the robots, are taking over the world. There's nothing we can do about it. Oh no, I just completely butchered that thing. Oh man, I thought I had it written down somewhere, and I don't. I thought I was better than this. All right, here it is. Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses and resurrecting relatives in the metaverse. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore the new, fun, and exciting ways robots are taking over the world and how there's nothing we can do about it. There we go. All right, so this is from designboom.com. The headline, Bulgari marks 75 years of serpentine jewelry with live robot arm chiseling in its Milan exhibition. There's a lot there. Now, there's a big header image here of a glass cube, a large glass cube. It's got, 4 cells vertically, and then sort of rows, 4 rows, and then 3 columns of rectangles that make the overall square thing. Looks like something out of a movie, like a prison thing when you have superhero movies and they're in the lab and you have those glass cases to contain the subject. It looks like that. But inside is a Flippy arm, a robot Flippy arm it's the chiseling robot. I think we've talked about the chiseling robot, and it's got a couple pieces of, stone or rock or something that it's chiseling out of on the sides. And in the background, there's like a little step case and what looks kind of like a pillar. Looks like a whole entrance into another dimension or something like that. But here it says Bulgari is celebrating the 75th anniversary of its Serpentine series with an opulent exhibition in Milan, the only European stop in the Serpentine Factory Global Tour, following Shanghai and Seoul. The exhibition, Serpentine, 75 Years of Infinite Tales, is held at the Dazio di Levante and runs from October 11th to November 19th, 2023. Bulgari's heritage inside is Bulgari's heritage jewelry and watches, along with some of the Mason's high jewelry creations. Masons, I think, are on display alongside artistic and sculptural interpretations of the Serpentine symbol by artist Quayola, Su Guenchung, Daniel Rosen, Kate M., Fabrizio Bixio Bregherari, and Filippo Salerni. And let's see, let's get to, it goes through the history a little bit here. And, there's some history. Yeah, fun, good times. Let's get to the robot arms. Where's the robot arms? Here we go. Here it is. All right. Stepping inside Bulgari's Serpentine 75 Years of Infinite Tales exhibition in Milan, artists put their personal spin on the Serpentine symbol, bringing their flair to the Masons' decades-old iconography together. Take Roman artist Quayola's work, where a robot arm gives a live chiseling performance reminiscent of classical sculptures and Michelangelo's unfinished concepts. The robot, guided by algorithms, attempts to finish shaping incomplete figures in the midst of its experimental state. It keeps reprocessing and applying techniques it discovers along the way, hinting at the slow process of crafting as infinite possibilities emerge. I like this because this is sort of we're talking about fifth generation warfare a lot, but applying new techniques that are discovered along the way. It's kind of like the great video games of that we play, the Final Fantasies and things like that, where you have you discover certain items and you upgrade on certain methods, and you're able to fight enemies better and things like that. Similar approach for the robot arm. that it's, once it learns a technique, it applies it. And then, once it learns a new technique, it can apply that. And so it's constantly evolving and learning. Oh, there you go. Quayola's use of technology may tie in with Su Guan Cheng's multimedia sculpture, created using motion capture data and large-scale 3D printed chrome that resembles liquid mercury. Let's see. The cinematic process film comes with it, documenting vital performances to narrate how the sculpture was made. The work is inspired by Bulgaria's very own serpentine symbol, which is, what is it? It's an Ouroboros! Yay! It's an Ouroboros, a snake eating its own tail. Of course! Oh no! We got things happening. All right, sorry about that. I was just shocked. My family is shocked that the serpentine symbol is a snake eating its own tail, the Ouroboros. No surprise. But there you go. There's Flippy making art for the snake logo, people. Oh boy. Buddy. All right. Son wanted to get up on another chair. What? Up higher? Careful there, bud. Gotta be careful. All right, sorry about that. Yeah, don't fall and bump your head. That'd be bad. Okay, the influences of the animal world lend to their roots to Catherine Mercier nudging the self-taught artist to sculpt her representative of a snake in the small and big python head and the mandarin. So it's just crazy. It's just all this art to represent the snake. And in the midst of it is the Flippy robot arm sculpting, applying what he learns to art. Yeah. Why a snake? Yeah, they like the snakes. What do snakes sound like? What letter does snake start with? S. Very good. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so all that schoolwork is working. Good stuff. All right. So there's your Flippy update. There's not much else to say. I'm sure Basil would have some articulate thing that he would pontificate on about with these Bulgari's serpentine jewelry and how Flippy is on full display, creating some items for the show. But there you go. We're going to move on. Yes, buddy. Yeah. What's up?
There's a fire up.
There's a fire up there? Oh, I don't see it, bud. Are they chariots? They are? My son sees chariots of fire up there, folks. Good stuff. Okay, let's move on. Where are we at here? Oh, yeah, the Gates of the Gods. What is this? Gates of the Gods. Sorry about that. I'm just a little slow on the uptake. Yeah. This is coming from sciencebusiness.net. And the headline here, CERN, bringing quantum computing to society. Oh, CERN, thank you so much that you guys are going to bring quantum computing to society. Where would we be without CERN? Here's what it says. First sentence. A new 3-year CERN-based program will make quantum computing resources and technical expertise available to projects designed to support the United Nations. Oh, there he goes. I told you not to fall, buddy. Yeah, stay over here. Yep, baby falling. Yeah, he's not happy about it, is he? Oh, buddy. Oh, bud. Oh. I know, bud. It's okay. Yeah. Yep. Live show, folks. Live show with 2-year-old. Very hard to do. Okay. Let's see what it say here. Yeah. A new 3-year CERN-based program. What's up, buddy? Want to go here? All right. Okay. A new 3-year CERN-based program will make quantum computing resources and technical expertise available to projects designed to support the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Are we surprised? Is anybody surprised? What's up, buddy? Okay, I'm sorry, folks. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna have to take care of some stuff here. This is not going well. Let's see. What can I play? Let me play some music from a producer, and I'll be back here. Let me give. How about this one? Here's Lil Owen.
At that time, you were without Christ. Aliens from Commonwealth of Israel, strangers from the covenants of promise, having no hope without God in the world. At that time, you were without Christ. Aliens from Commonwealth of Israel, strangers from the covenants of promise, having no hope without God in the world. But now in Christ, you are sometimes far off, all made nigh by the blood of Christ. He is our peace, who is made both one, has broken down the middle wall between us. He is our peace, who is made both one, has broken down the middle wall between us.
Okay. Sorry about that. Back. Okay. So, yeah, kind of blew the punchline there. But the big thing here is that CERN has created a program that brings quantum computing resources that are designed to support the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. There's no surprise here, but, you know, this is to inform you. We're going to start hearing about this, I think, in the alt world some more. The new program is called the Open Quantum Institute, OQI. Hosted by CERN, the OQI has been designed by the Geneva Science and Diplomacy Anticipator, GESDA, in collaboration. Whoa, oh, there goes my guitar. Hold on. Oh. All right, we don't want to break guitars today. That'd be bad. Okay. Where was I? Yeah, so they have the Open Quantum Institute, the OQI, which has 130 experts and will be funded by UBS as lead impact partner. And the announcement of the 3-year pilot phase was made on the 13th of October during the 2023 GESDA Summit, and the program will be fully embedded into CERN's wider quantum technology initiative as of March 1st, 2024. The OQI will be de facto the societal arm of the QTI, which was established at CERN in 2018 and is managed by the IT department. Now, the one thing about the IT department that I know, because my wife has worked in IT for many years, is there's a company called Oracle. You may have heard of them. The Oracle Corporation, and they are headquartered in Austin. It was created by Larry Ellison, and Oracle happens to be the data management or, you know, sort of dashboard company that supports CERN. We have the headline here from Oracle.com. Oracle Cloud helps CERN explore our universe. CERN, the European Laboratory for Particle Physics, uses Oracle autonomous databases to support the control systems for the Large Hadron Collider, the world's largest and most powerful particle accelerator. So yeah, this was something that they had been partnered for years. And it's just interesting that now there's a quantum computing push. It's kind of been quiet. Right now we're going through the AI phase. The next few years is probably going to be a lot of AI talk and AI integration. But after that, it's going to be quantum. And we'll hear quantum AI. People start talking about quantum AI and all this stuff. So it's I think a few years before it gets commercial, but CERN, I think this is part of the big money-making scheme of peddling, multiverse type of stuff. And, the whole breakdown of the material sciences, the materialist, reductionist, the reason why Exeter University is starting to move towards master's degree in magic and the occult, it's to open up the academic world, the institutional scholarly world, into the more woo-woo type of science. Because I think we're going to start seeing more woo-woo type of stuff. And it's going to be all scientifically validated to some extent. So there you go. Just a quick update on CERN while everyone's focused on Gaza and what's going on there. Just quietly, CERN talking about bringing quantum computing to society and all aligned with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Which, by the way, so does because of the situation where I guess a few people from the UN were killed in some of the rockets that were fired by the Israeli Defense Force. Does that make the UN a terrorist organization? I'm just wondering, So, okay, let's move on. We got a quick COVID update here. All right, dancing vaccine, but no sound. Hold on, one more. Let's try that again.
It's Corona time. COVID-19, 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 coronavirus.
I am vaccine. Vaccine, number one way.
Yeah. Health.com. CDC says some people might need a longer needle for their next vaccine. Yeah, I was traumatized as a child. I've talked about this on the show before. 7 years old. I was on a trip to Japan. And my cousin, who turned out to be, one of the hermits, hikimori is what they call them, like people who withdraw from society and they live at home and, they just sit in their room and watch TV and play video games or whatever. My cousin turned out to be one of those folks where, he's older than me. I think he's like 50 or something years old. Never had a job, never moved out of his house. But when I was 7 years old, he was a little bit older than me and, stayed in his room, and he traumatized me when he had the VHS of Freddy Krueger playing on the TV there. And I was freaked out, completely freaked out. And it was the Freddy Krueger with the vaccine, or not the vaccine, but the syringe fingers. There's the one where instead of just like the knives on his fingers, he had the syringes. So yeah, the anti-vax thing was installed in me at a very young age. But in any case, that's kind of what this reminds me of, the CDC coming out with their little Freddy Krueger syringe hands, with those long needles. The article talks about this situation here, about the CDC and how they think that some large needles might be needed. And I'm just going to go straight to the source, cdc.gov, vaccine administration. And there's all these different things. And, I was thinking, is this a joke, or not a joke, but like one of these situations where a news outlet, a lesser known outlet like health.com. I mean, I guess there's health.com and it should be pretty big, but it kind of looks a little raggy. And is this a case of a little, sensationalism when it comes to the phrase like need a longer needle for a vaccine. But no, this is actually what it says here. Under intramuscular injections under the CDC, needle length injectable immunobiologics should be administered where local neurovascular or tissue injury is unlikely. Use of longer needles have been associated with less redness or swelling than occurs with shorter needles because of injection into deeper muscle mass. Appropriate needle length depends on age and body mass. Injection technique is the most important parameter to ensure efficient intermuscular vaccine delivery. And it talks about here how the aspiration before injection of vaccines or toxoids, example, pulling back on the syringe plunger after needle insertion before injection, is not necessary because no large blood vessels are present at the recommended injection sites, and a process that includes aspiration might be more painful for infants. Oh, good. So this, this sort of thing might be more painful for the little ones. That's always fun. Which reminds me of the Bill Gates jingle, if I can pull it up, about this little jabbing little kids with needles. Didn't I have that jingle here somewhere? Where's my Bill Gates? There you are, Bill Gates.
We're taking things that are genetically modified organisms and we're injecting them in little kids' arms. We just shoot them right into the vein, right into the vein, right into the vein, right into the vein.
And apparently they're going to start using longer needles, or at least they're recommending longer needles because it's going to hurt less, everybody. Come on. You got to get the stuff in there. I know the delivery method is a little gruesome, but just get a longer needle. Get right in there. All right, so there you go. Thank you very much to the CDC for recommending longer needles like Freddy Krueger. Okay, one last thing here before we call it a day. I know it's a little bit of a shorter show again, but going solo here and have other obligations. We're going to touch on Trump.
We will launch a new age. I am innocent. Innocent. They're coming after me.
Yeah, so it's not directly Trump related at the moment, but it's close enough. This is coming from Newsweek.com. Newsweek, notoriously a intelligence-ish operative and unknown source of financing, according to the Harvard media ownership list. But it has here the headline, Pro-Trump pastor announces huge occult burning for Halloween. And it says, pastor, who is a supporter of former President Donald Trump, has advertised an, quote, occult burning event on Halloween at his church in Tennessee. In an Instagram post, Greg Locke, who runs the Global Vision Bible Church in Mount Juliet near Nashville, promised, quote, we will once again be burning all things related to witchcraft and the occult. Ask the Lord to show you what's in your home that needs to be removed. So, generally, I don't mind this. It's kind of like, we, at the very least, you can have sort of a cathartic thing where you're moving on from certain worldviews that you might have had if you people burn homework and stuff like that. It's kind of a thing you do as a way to, I don't know, put a chapter of your life behind you or something like that. And there's symbolic meaning there for people. But also, obviously, there's sort of the straight biblical, tear down the high places type of atmosphere as well. So I'm not against actually Greg Locke doing any of this. It's for sort of a basic principle type of thing. But, of course, Newsweek is going to carry this as a Trump supporter who is crazy. The self-described media firebrand, block there, has courted controversy for his public statements, having previously described Democrat voters as demons and told his congregation, quote, you ain't seen an insurrection yet, following the January 6, 2021 uprising at the U.S. Capitol. It's, again, if you're going to lean into a side, you better really lean in, man, because You'll stir up your crowd, but also, you need those mainstream news organizations to write hit pieces on you. So in his Instagram advertisement posted on Thursday, Locke also noted that the event would involve a, quote, mass deliverance service for children, claiming 95% of the adults he encountered, quote, have been under attack since they were kids, end quote. Yeah, I would argue that the spiritual warfare has been a thing since we're all born into it. So not going to disagree with that. It's not the first time Locke, a non-denominational evangelical Christian, has railed against the apparent forces of witchcraft in the U.S. It mentions how he had to get personal security after some people in the occult were threatening him. But this is where I love Newsweek just sort of showing their hand, I guess. Newsweek here. Many on social media derided his recent post, with one user aptly named Friend of Satan responding, quote, I cannot believe... Hold on, let me use the voice here. Here we go. This is Friend of Satan.
I cannot believe, with all the access to information we have today, there are people that believe in fairy tales.
Oh, people that still believe in fairy tales. Sorry about that. Misquoted that. Misquoted Friend of Satan there. But there you go. That's who they go with. That's who Newsweek goes with to push back on Greg Locke's occult witchcraft burning event that he's advertising on Instagram. Let's quote Friend of Satan. But, Newsweek is trying to be fair and balanced. However, some supported the occult burning. Quote, I took my witchcraft, conjuring, and ceremonial magic books to Greg to burn them in 2020. End quote. Another user wrote, quote, definitely a freeing and chain-breaking decision, end quote. Again, if you want to do that, do it. I think it would be great, especially people coming out of the occult, coming out of witchcraft and all that kind of stuff. It's a great exercise in sort of, declaring your faith in the Lord. Recently, Locke claimed that the current war between Israel and Hamas could bring about the second coming of Jesus Christ. Be interested to hear the specifics on that. Some evangelical Christians have long believed that the return of the Jews to the land of Israel would help bring about the reemergence of the Messiah. And again, I've been the one saying, and not just me, but based on the research of Chris White and others, that this messianic figure that may come from this whole apparatus might be the Antichrist, not the Christ. And that's the end of the article, so there you go, Newsweek, trying to create that hit piece, hate Christians. So, notice though, this is, it's not exactly, going back to the Israel-Hamas sort of conflict. It's a little nebulous with this one. Oh, so is Greg Locke pro-Israel? Or is he, he sounds like he sounds like a domestic terrorist, white nationalist or something. So what does that mean? Does that mean he supports Hamas too? Well, if you ask, the Andrew Torbas and the whole Christian nationalists, the people that wear that badge, anti-Israel. Most of them are pro-Palestine. So see how this whole thing is so confusing. But, it's the witchcraft part of this is very interesting as well.
This girl must be practicing witchcraft.
And the way things are unfolding in the West here, and certain stories that I find interesting, especially as we make it through October here. This is coming from Cairo7.com. Headline, witchcraft. Sorry. Oops. I'm late on the buzzer. Witchcraft. I suppose you can say the other thing is a thing too, but witchcraft shop finds out tarot readings are technically illegal. I love this. I love this story. It says here, Hanover, Pennsylvania. Who knew an ancient art inspired a visit from law enforcement thanks to an archaic law still on the books in Pennsylvania? Beck Lawrence opened a witchcraft-themed store this year called the Serpent's Key Shop and Sanctuary. And shop is spelled all fancy like a fancy shop, S-H-O-P. OPPE. But a profile published in a Hanover, Pennsylvania newsletter had the local police chief knocking with a warning for Lawrence. The chief told Lawrence that if the police department gets a complaint about fortune telling, an investigation could be conducted and he'd be back at the shop, WPMT reported. Quote, he basically just reiterated to me that he wasn't here to make an arrest at this time or press any charges at this time. However, if he did get further reports or he felt there was any need to investigate, he would be obligated to under this law, which I understand, Lawrence told the television station. It's all thanks to an old law that is still active in the Keystone State that makes predicting the future and being paid for the reading illegal. I like that. I like that this is a, but the danger here is if there are any so-called self-described prophets, and I'm not even saying that there aren't prophets, that's a whole separate debate about, are there actual prophets today of God and things of that nature. But if you're like a church pastor or something like that, and you accept money and then you start, kind of praying over something or preaching something, and all of a sudden you start prophesying certain things, and then it doesn't come to pass, and someone wants to sue you. If you're in the Keystone State, maybe there's some water there. I don't know. I'm just saying, it could be used against you. So it's not all about the fortune tellers. But it's just always fun when you run into little old laws like this. It's always good for trivia, So, next time you're the Halloween dinner or Thanksgiving dinner or something like that, you can talk to your friends. You can bring up, hey, which state is it illegal to? Whoa. Oh, here. All right. Melting down. Dropping food. Dropping food is a meltdown. Okay. So there you go. There's that story. On that, I think that's it for today. I know it's a little shorter. We still went about an hour and a half here, but I think Basil will be back Friday. We're going to spend a few moments here at the end to thank some producers for their talent. And then we'll be on our way. Make sure you guys have your Wednesdays. We don't want to sit here and take it all up, especially when there's children and dogs barking in the background. I'm sure it's not the most comfortable podcast to listen to. So let's thank some producers for their God-given talent. We're going to start off. Actually, we're going to get going with a couple speak pipes to catch up with here.
Please leave a message after the tone.
At the tone, please record your message.
Leave a message. Beep.
Message.
Go to canarycrynewstalk.com on any of the pages there. If you hit the green button on the right side of the bottom, it'll open up a little window that allows you to record an audio message of up to 90 seconds through your device. And you can leave us a message. You can leave us a pre-show prayer. If it is a private message to us, please make sure to say that it is a private message right at the top of the recording so that we don't accidentally play a private message publicly. We're going to kick it off with a message from Rochelle.
Happy Monday, Canarians. Boy, we are living in the most confusing of times. Or maybe everything's just fallen right into place. Either way, God sorts it all out in the end. I'd like to refer everyone to Psalm 1. Blessed are those who don't walk in step with the wicked. Blessed are those who stand in the way of the rejected. Blessed are those who delight in the Lord day and night, like a tree by the stream in the light, yielding fruit for those who do right. But cursed are those who the wind blows away like chaff. Cursed are those who he doesn't know, you'll never laugh. Cursed are those who can't stand up in assembly. Bless the one who keeps watch over me. Save the way to the well-watered tree. That's the tree of life I'm talking about, folks. Stay strong for Jesus.
Amen. Thank you for that, Rochelle. Appreciate that. Very uplifting. We need more of that, so thank you for that. We also have another SpeakPipe message from Eyes to See for me.
Canarium, this message is to honor Cyril X Protocol, Knight of the Berean Protocol, on his supernova executive streak. Streak 222 for him. Interesting, on 2/22, February 2022, it's the first time the Imaging X-ray Polarimetry Explorer went up. 677, if you look that up with supernovas, refers to a gravitational wave source. So perhaps Cyril X has some kind of gravitational wave power in the supernova streak via the Almighty, just so happening on this 2/22. So maybe we should call him Sir LX Protocol IXPE, Knight of the Berean Protocol, to honor his Imaging X-ray Polarimetry Explorer experience. Congratulations, Sir LX.
Wow, that's so many deep cuts. It's hard. We got to chart it out to know where all the references come from. Thank you very much. Eyes to See for me. Yeah, I think the jingle streak is 223. It's like the backwards 322. So I don't know if that changes anything. It might be February 2023. So maybe, I don't know. So it might mess up your whole thing there, Eyes to See for me. But valiant effort, and also tying it into episode 677, which was last episode. And by the way, today's episode is they're consecutive integers, 6, 7, 8. And then I realized, we need another, 111 episodes to do the whole 7, 8, 9 joke, If you guys know about that one, I'm sure. I'm sure a dad in your life has told that one before. Okay, so thank you very much for that message, Eyes to See for me. And Sir LX Protocol V2, Knight of the Berean Protocol, our longest executive producer streaker. If you have any thoughts on that, please respond, and we'll look forward to that. Next up, we have Davey Frost.
If you are going to the Houston meetup, to the John Lennox lecture, then I suggest getting your tickets as soon as you possibly can. I got 2 today, and there was only a few left. You have to get tickets to be able to get into this event. So I obviously have one for one more person, but yeah, get them now before they're gone. And also big thanks to Toph for putting on the meetup.
Yeah, the meetups. Just there was a meetup update from over the weekend. I'm going to have all that ready for Friday for the people that hung out with Slave to Servant and Sam and everybody. But yes, go to canarycrymeetups.com.
Canary Cry Meetup.
You'll see some of the meetups that are getting ready to take place. There's 2 over the weekend, this upcoming weekend. New Brunsfeld, Landa Park. Contact D-Nice Winterbottom at summertop71@gmail.com if you're in that area. And also the Houston area meetup. And that's going to be that lecture, the John Lennox lecture. And, John Lennox, man, I love the guy. He's brilliant mathematician, philosopher, defender of Christianity, and overall, just right on point. I was very, very happy to see him affirm so much of the crazy I was talking for many years, just a couple of years ago when he published his book, 2084, Artificial Intelligence and the Future of Humanity. So there you go. All right. That's it for the speak pipe. So let's move on and thank some people coming in with their audio production.
Audio production.
Alrighty, so audio production. This first one we have is from, you know what? I was supposed to do the video to make up for Jonathan F's thing from last time. Sorry about that, Jonathan F. I have not been able to update that AVI file into an MP4 file so I can play it. But I mean, really, it was just Joe Biden kicking his kicking his dog over and over again with some music in the background. But yeah, we appreciate that, Jonathan F. Just, yeah, heads up, MP4s are the best formats to help us play it on the show. The easiest, so I don't have to go in there and reformat things. But we have another piece of audio, I believe, from El Gato Bilbo. El Gato Bilbo. And if you were listening at the top of the show, you may have noticed this jingle.
5th Gen Warfare.
They're targeting you. They're targeting you.
5th Gen Warfare.
That was El Gato Bilbo. Thank you very much, El Gato Bilbo. And he says, WWNAFAB is next. That's We Wrestle Not Against Flesh and Blood. So it looks like he's going to make a jingle for that one next. That'll be great. Appreciate that, El Gato Bilbo. Thank you very much. We also, I think there was I don't know what to do with this one. I haven't been able to fully absorb it, but there was a message from Sir Marty K, Night of the Wrong Timeline, and it was about Friday the 13th. And I think we're going to, I'm sorry, Sir Marty K. I haven't had time to absorb the message and the audio, and so we'll share it on Friday. So let me actually make note of that so we remember. I know it's going to be a week late, but we can do it Friday to Friday. So we'll cover that on Friday. So thank you very much for that. Appreciate it. We're going to go on to some art.
One art, please.
We're going to start with Sir Dove, Knight of Raspeltia.
One art piece from Dove.
And it all kind of works together because he says, peace for today's artwork. I made a flyer for the upcoming Indiana meetup next month. Hope you guys like it. Keep doing what you do and I'll keep praying for yins. And here we have the Canary Cry Indiana meetup happening November 11th. It's a Saturday. It's Veterans Day, or at least, Veterans Day. Less than an hour from Chicago, 3:30 p.m., the Region Cat Cafe, and then 5:30 p.m., Aladdin Pita. And that's sassyfrastbees@gmail.com to contact, or the contact for the meetup. And for this artwork here, you have Indiana. I don't know what lake. Is that the lake between that and Chicago? I don't know. There's a picture. I'm assuming it's Indiana. And there's a soldier, a derpy-eyed canary soldier, standing in attention with his hand in salute. He's got his army helmet on, and if you look closely, he's got a sticker of an American flag on there. And instead of the 13 stars in the blue square on the top left of the American flag, there is it's the anti-vaccine one. So there's a syringe, and just under it, it says, nah. And then he's got 6. Oh, this must be the ice pack that he's wearing, not a bulletproof vest, because it has 6 pouches. His little vest that he's wearing has 6 pouches. He's got the Canary Cry News Talk arm badge on his left shoulder. And there you go. There he is. And then also the cat. I believe that's one of the Monties, maybe. Also in full salute for the Canary Cry Indiana meetup. So again, contact sassyfrastbees@gmail.com. I believe this might be the second or third one they're doing here. So canarycrymeetups.com to learn more. And thank you, Dove, for the artwork. Appreciate it. Next up, this one, I wasn't sure what was happening. Sometimes people send things and I can't tell what's happening. And this is one of those occasions. I could be getting this all wrong. This is from Corbin. And Corbin sent in a piece of drawing, an image here. And it says, the name of the drawing is Conehead. On the upper left, there is an alien. And on the lower right is an abductee. Okay, so what we have here is a blank sheet of paper with there's some stuff written in blue marker, it looks like. And you know how the progressives look at art and they're like, there could be like a dot on a canvas and, oh, it's so profound art. it's kind of like that. We have a little scribble of what looks like a cone head-ish shape on the left. Apparently that's the alien. And then kind of a scribbly outline of the upper part of a man on the right. I think that's the abductee. But really, it's up to interpretation. And this looks like one of those blotches people look at when they go to therapy. But Corbin, thank you very much. This is I'm wondering if this was an inspired piece by maybe a young one, a little one that's listening, or if Corbin is just really tapped in to abstract art forms. Because this piece, I think this piece can pull 7 figures. If the right people see it, easy 7 figures. I mean, you can get people paying maybe 8, if it really captures the imagination of some folks out there. So thank you very much, Corbin. I'll include the art in the show notes at canarycrynewstalk.com for anybody listening who might be curious about what I'm talking about. So there you go. Thank you very much. Okay, we're saving the speak pipes, or not the speak pipes, the microfiction for Friday. So we'll catch up with Rung Smash and Stefan S. on those. And okay, who else to thank? We can thank, let's thank some people for their time. It's not just the talent. Obviously, the talent, I mean, look at the talent oozing on, especially this episode, with pieces like what Corbin has provided. It really helps build the culture behind the community here. And, we have to have more than just the financial producers. Of course, the people who produce with their treasure, that's really what keeps us going. But I think all these other things, the art, the jingles, the ISOs, those are very important to help build the culture here. And also, the other ways you can really help the show, you can spend your time. You can share our show on social media. You can like this video if you're on YouTube or Rumble or whatever, hit that thumbs up. You can do little things like that. But you can also give us your time in more specific ways. And one way that people produce the show with their time is by clipping the show. We call them Clippies, and we like to thank them on every episode.
Clipping all those videos. Thanks.
Yeah, the Clippies and the Clips channel. There's a Canary Cry Clips channel that is specifically there to clip out stuff from the show because, we just ramble on for a few hours, and sometimes we need shorter content to consume or shorter segments to consume, especially when we're talking about, sharing the show with friends and family. So that's what the Clips channel is for. And I know we'll get it going properly as time goes on. If we say it enough, it'll happen. So thank you for those people who have been generously helping out in that regard. Emsworth, Faye Liverin, Jolmes, and Laura. And that wouldn't be possible without the timestampers.
Timestamp, it's hard work. Timestamp.
I believe the timestamper for last episode was Morgan E., if I'm not mistaken. Yep, Morgan E. Thank you very much, Morgan E., for doing the timestamps for episode 677. Let's see. Oh, thank you to Jam for the links. And by the way, there was a note on Jam a few episodes ago, just going back to the music festival situation over there in Hamas and Gaza and everything. It was owned by a son of a DJ. I think he's a Brazilian DJ who had openly supported Lula in that whole takeover that happened in Brazil over the last year. So, it's kind of a progressive left pro-communist type of group. And they were the ones funding the rave where, the people were kidnapped and killed and whatnot. So, yeah. And by the way, against the whole kidnapping and killing innocent people at music festivals. So, don't call me a coward and don't tell me that I'm supporting terrorism because I don't agree with your narrative. Sorry. I know. Still bitter about some of that, but there you go. let's see. Where were we? I got lost completely. Oh, timestampers. Yes. Thank you to the timestampers. Thank you to the links. Oh, yeah, we were talking about Jam. Thank you to Clank for all that you do, Clank. Appreciate it. Thank you for the notes you send, keeping us informed about your process and also some things you're going through in life. Just things in life. All right. That's going to do it for this episode. Appreciate all of you. We'll be back Friday. Basil will hopefully be back Friday, and we'll have a complete show for you there. And I'm sure we'll have a new narrative, or at least a new wrinkle in the narrative when it comes to everything happening in Gaza. And, one of my things, I was going, hey, I hope Joe's okay. I hope Joe doesn't, something happen to him, because I'm not talking about tripping over his dog. He might do something real bad. In this highly tenuous time when every action, especially by politicians, especially the man who is supposed to be the leader of the free world, everything they do has consequences, political consequences, social consequences. So obviously, the sort of old man bumbling president thing has been well documented, and a lot of people are suspicious as to how we had this guy come into office in the first place. It seems too suspicious, too good in terms of a timing thing, to have someone in there to lead the country while it's being systematically sort of overthrown quietly from the inside, which again, it's been going on for a long time. I'm not saying that Joe himself did it. I think he's the guy that's supposed to have everyone's attention while the takeover happens. But in any case, man, I get distracted a lot. That's what podcasting is for, though, right? Just distract ourselves. So there you go. We'll find out what's going on with all that on Friday. But until then, please, please, please be respectful of your fellow believers. That's one thing that I need to make sure and say, that there's a lot of disagreement going on. And even myself, I am in pretty staunch disagreement with a lot of brothers in Christ right now, brothers and sisters in Christ, regarding this issue. And, but I'm not questioning their salvation. I'm not saying that they're evil people, contrary to how they might respond to positions like mine. But I understand. I understand that there is a lot of passion, emotions. And so I think it's important to treat each other with respect and just have, I go back to just defining the word Israel when you're in conversation. So there you go. Let's see. People in the chat asking about what issue. I don't know. I'm lost on what, did I say there's an issue? I think I just meant like the Hamas Israel issue. Just in general. Sorry, I keep referencing it as sort of I keep going back to it because it's just part of the conversation. It's what's on everyone's mind. And it's how everyone is determining loyalties right now. It's truly, we saw the Ukraine thing. Hey, are you part of the Ukraine thing or not? Very similar tactic now. Are you part of this Israel support or not? If you're not, then you're a terrorist. That's really the ultimatum that's being presented. And I don't, number one, it's not logical. And number two, it's dangerous to present such divisive things. And I get it. America is ripe for it. We have completely fallen for the right-left paradigm. We've fallen for all kinds of false flags. It's at this point in the game in 2023 here, it's impossible to know what's really going on the ground. And the warfare is not what happens on the ground. Yes, that is part of the warfare, the kinetic part of the whole situation. But truly the warfare is how that event gets taken, recorded, and presented to the world. And that is what's causing all the teams to split up. You have the Hamas terrorist groups saying that there's something happened. Okay, well, that's what they say. Well, then the Israelis say that something else happened. And then it turns out none of it happened. But actually, that none of it happened serves one side more than the other. It's a game, folks. Biden said it. Oh, it was from the other team there. Yeah, this is a team sport. This is a team sport. And so it's important to remember, one of the tropes in sports, it's just a game, guys. It's just a game. And it's a little different with politics because ultimately it's your well-being, it's your livelihood. There's a lot tied up. So politics is a little different from just normal entertainment sports. But in terms of emotional sentiment, in terms of emotional manipulation, all of that, very similar. Very similar. So, yeah, just, I guess there's a sense of mourning might be too strong of a word. Just grieving. The Bible, there's a lot of times in the Bible where people in the Old Testament are grieving at what Israel's become. And I often associate or I can identify with that sentiment quite a bit. And not just America, but just, in general. Because there's a lot of grief when you start looking at all the manipulation and the evils. So, yeah, what's up, buddy? Yep, 2-year-old, ready to get going. Okay, so there you go, folks. That's it for this episode. You want apple juice? Yeah, apple juice would be great. Here's some apple sauce. Yeah, here you go. Try some. No. Applesauce not good enough. Got to have apple juice. All right, here we go. What about some raisins? Raisins, good for you. All right, there you go. Tell your friends and family about the show. We really appreciate it. That's a great way you can help produce the show. Oh, by the way, we were getting fantastic reviews. Thank you so much for everybody who is leaving a review. Make sure to screen grab it and send it to canarycrysupply@gmail.com. I think that's what it is. And have a chance to win some cool things as part of the drawing there. So I think that's the way you enter. You leave a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts for Canary Cry News Talk. Take a screenshot and send it to canarycrysupply@gmail.com and you enter. And I don't know when the drawing is, but there you go. That's out there. You can do that. And we've gotten some really, really nice messages there on Apple Podcasts. So thank you for that. I think that's it. I think we're just going to head out here. So make sure to go to your neighbor, your friend, even your enemy. Love your enemies, folks. I know it's very hard to do. Love your enemies. Go grab him by the cage and shake him.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
That's Noah.
Cody is one of the best guard dogs ever. He's a little schnauzer. But man, my German Shepherd didn't even budge sometimes when people showed up. But the mailman comes around the corner and Cody's all over it. All over it. There you go. Everyone should get a schnauzer. There you go, folks. Thank you very much for being here. If you're here till the end, man, you're a trooper. Extra kudos for you. We'll see you guys on Friday. Have an awesome day. Enjoy your time. Tell your family you love them. God bless. Have an awesome day. And until next episode, think outside the cage. Goodbye.
He's a Satanist, but one of the Satanist churches here where they sacrifice babies. We're all gonna die.
This is the United States of America, for God's sake. I love the Great Reset.
I've ordered more pills than anyone in the world.
Toilets! Give me a break.
Do not come back, you Nazi psychopaths.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Bye!
Thirsty for more news and analysis, not controlled by corporate media advertisers? Then try the all-new CCNT Energy Shots. Collect all 30 free flavors. CCNT 500. Taste that is out of this world. Burning basil, one sip and you're dreaming. Clippy Flippy, take back your favorite flavor. Propaganda Rooster, a toast to your comrades in farms. Rattling Cages, let's shake things up. Canary Cry After Dark, what time is it? It's wake up time. Support value for value. And think outside the cage with Canary Cry News Talk. But what do I know? I'm just an AI-generated cat girl avatar. And this is a fake ad. Baka.
And a resounding baka flies through the air across the world. Why are you screaming like a wild bird?
Rattle their cage. You have a lot of people screaming randomly. Why don't you shout? It'll be their call out. You have a lot of people screaming randomly.
Go ahead and...
Why don't you shout?
Why are you screaming like a wild bird?
Value for value. We take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.
Canary cry, that's a boy.
Bye. I'm out of here. Bye.